Welcome back to the eUCP version 2.1 Masterclass series. We welcome you all to Talks and Views. In this video we will discuss Article E6 of eUCP. Let's dive into the video now.
Article E6, Presentation. This article explains a very important question. When is an electronic presentation actually considered to have been made? With paper documents, the concept is relatively easy. You physically present the documents to the bank. But with electronic records, several additional questions arise. Where should the electronic record be sent? Does every electronic record have to be sent at the same time? How does the bank know that the presentation is complete? What happens if the bank's system cannot receive the electronic record? What happens if an electronic record cannot be authenticated? Article E6 provides the answers. Let's understand it step by step.
Before dive into the video, we need to tell about us. Trade Hunt Management has been delivering professional training in trade finance and compliance certifications since 2011, with over a decade of specialized experience. We provide structured preparation for globally recognized certifications including CDCS, CSDG, CITF, CSCF, ACAMS, CGSS, and CCAS. Our training is led by Sudhakar Sanjeevi, CDCS Advocate, CSDG, ACAMS, CGSS, CCAS, providing practical industry insights, exam-focused guidance, and professional mentoring. With a strong commitment to quality and a 4.6/5 Google rating, we support professionals in achieving their certification and career goals. Trade Hunt Management, empowering professionals through knowledge, certification, and career excellence.
Article E6, A.I. Place for presentation. An eUCP credit must indicate a place for presentation of electronic records. The letter of credit must tell the beneficiary. Where should I submit my electronic records? For example, the credit may specify a bank's electronic trade portal, a particular electronic address, a designated data processing system. The beneficiary cannot simply send the electronic records anywhere it chooses. The credit must identify the place for presentation. Example: an eUCP credit says, electronic records must be presented through ABC Bank's trade portal. The trade portal is the designated place for presentation.
Article E6, A.2, Electronic plus paper documents. What happens when the credit requires or allows both electronic records and paper documents? The credit must indicate the place for presentation of electronic records, and the place for presentation of paper documents. Example: the credit requires electronic commercial invoice, electronic certificate of origin, paper bill of lading. The LC must provide where electronic records should be presented, and where the paper bill of lading should be presented.
Article E6, B. Electronic records can be presented separately. This is a very important concept. Electronic records do not have to be presented at the same time. They can be presented separately. Example: the beneficiary has 3 electronic records: invoice, insurance certificate, certificate of origin. The beneficiary can submit Monday, invoice; Tuesday, insurance certificate; Wednesday, certificate of origin. The electronic records do not necessarily have to arrive together. However, the beneficiary must understand the importance of the notice of completeness.
Article E6, C. Notice of completeness. This is one of the highest value CDCS exam concepts in Article E6. When one or more electronic records are presented, either alone or together with paper documents, the presenter is responsible for providing a notice of completeness. The notice must be sent to the nominated bank, or the confirming bank, if any, or the issuing bank, when presentation is made directly to it. What does notice of completeness mean? When beneficiary says I have now finished my presentation, These are all the records I am presenting under this credit. This is extremely important because receipt of the notice of completeness tells the bank the presentation is complete. Start the examination period. Example. The beneficiary submits. Monday, invoice. Tuesday, insurance certificate. Wednesday, certificate of origin. On Thursday, the beneficiary sends a notice of completeness. The bank receives the notice on Thursday. The bank now knows the beneficiary has completed the presentation. The examination period begins from the receipt of the notice of completeness.
Article E6, C, 2. How can the notice be given? The notice of completeness may be provided as an electronic record or a paper document. But there is one important requirement. The notice must identify the eUCP credit to which it relates. Example. The beneficiary sends notice of completeness, LC number 123456. This identifies the relevant credit.
Article E6, C, 3, no notice equals no presentation. This is one of the most important exam points. If the bank does not receive the notice of completeness, the presentation is deemed not to have been made. Remember, electronic records received is not equal to completed presentation. The notice of completeness is crucial. Example. The beneficiary uploads invoice, insurance certificate, certificate of origin, but never sends the notice of completeness. What is the consequence? The presentation is considered not to have been made.
Article E6, C, 4, exception when a nominated bank forwards the records. There is an important exception. Suppose a nominated bank receives the electronic records and then forwards or makes them available to confirming bank or issuing bank. In that situation, the nominated bank does not need to send a separate notice of completeness.
Article E6, D, identification of the eUCP credit. Every presentation of an electronic record must identify the eUCP credit under which it is presented. The identification can be made in several ways. Method 1. The electronic record itself identifies the credit. Method 2. The credit number is included in the metadata attached to the electronic record. Method 3. The credit is identified in the covering letter or schedule accompanying the presentation. Example. The electronic invoice itself says LC No. ABC 12345. That identifies the credit. Alternatively, the metadata attached to the electronic record may contain the LC number. Or the covering schedule may state documents presented under LC No. ABC 12345. All these methods can identify the credit.
Article E6, E. What happens if the bank system fails? This is a very practical situation. Suppose the expiry date is August 31st. The bank is physically open on August 31st. However, its electronic system is unable to receive electronic records. What happens? Under Article E6, E, I. The bank is deemed to be closed for this purpose. The expiry date and/or last day for presentation is extended to the next banking day on which the bank is able to receive an electronic record. Example. LC expiry date. Friday, August 31st. The bank is open, but the electronic system is down and cannot receive electronic records. The bank is considered closed for eUCP presentation purposes. If the system becomes operational on Monday, September 3rd, the presentation deadline is extended to that next banking day.
Article E6, E, 2, statement by the nominated bank. If this system failure occurs, The nominated bank must provide the confirming bank or issuing bank, if any, with a statement on its covering schedule confirming that the electronic presentation was made within the extended time limit under Article E6, E.I. The nominated bank needs to tell the other bank this presentation was made within the extended deadline because the receiving bank's system was unavailable. Article E6, E.3. What if the notice of completeness is the only remaining record? This is a very interesting exam scenario. Suppose all electronic records have already been presented. The only thing remaining is the notice of completeness. Then the notice can be sent by telecommunication or by paper document, and it will be considered timely if it is sent before the bank becomes able to receive an electronic record.
Article E6, F. Electronic record cannot be authenticated. This is another very important rule. An electronic record must be capable of being authenticated. What happens if it cannot be authenticated? The electronic record is deemed not to have been presented. Example: a beneficiary submits an electronic bill of lading. The bank system cannot verify the apparent identity of the sender, or the apparent source, or whether the record has remained complete and unaltered. The record cannot be authenticated. Therefore, the bank treats it as not presented. Now let's test your understanding on this article with few questions. Question 1. A beneficiary presents several electronic records under an eUCP credit but does not send the required notice of completeness. What is the consequence? A. The bank automatically begins examination. B. The bank must examine the records within 5 banking days. C. The records are automatically accepted. D. The presentation is deemed not to have been made. Answer: D. Question 2. An electronic record is presented under an eUCP credit but does not identify the credit to which it relates. What may the bank do? A. Automatically reject the credit. B. Automatically accept the record. C. Treat the electronic record as not received. D. Return the record only after 7 banking days. Answer: C. Question 3. An eUCP credit expires today. The bank is physically open, but its system is unable to receive electronic records. Under Article E6, what happens? A. The credit expires because the bank is physically open. B. The beneficiary automatically loses its right to present. C. The bank is deemed to be closed and the deadline is extended to the next banking day when the bank can receive an electronic record. D. The issuing bank must cancel the credit. Answer: C. Question 4. An electronic record is presented but cannot be authenticated. What is the status of the electronic record under Article E6? A. It is automatically accepted. B. The bank must examine it manually. C. It is treated as a paper document. D. It is deemed not to have been presented. Answer: D. Question 5. An eUCP credit requires 3 electronic records. The beneficiary presents the first record on Monday, the second on Tuesday and the third on Wednesday. Is presenting the records on different days automatically prohibited? A. Yes, all electronic records must always be presented simultaneously. B. Yes, electronic records can only be presented in paper form. C. No, electronic records may be presented separately and need not be presented at the same time. D. Yes, unless the issuing bank gives prior permission. Answer: C.
If you are looking for professional training for CDCS, CSDG, CITF, ACAMS, CGSS, CCAS examinations, then you can contact Trade Hunt Management on the contact details appearing on the screen right now.